Hi friends, welcome back. I'm going to create a series of videos on cloud formation where I will be topping different topics and latest features of cloud formation. Now, what I see from last couple of years, there is so many new features on cloud formation, and that's really make a developer a life easier or a system administrator life easier who is using cloud formation. And the people are really not understanding or don't have a real understanding of this all new features and how it can be used. So having this purpose in mind, I'm going to create this series of videos on cloud formation, and today is the first video of this series, and today I'm going to create a simple EC2 instance with a cloud formation to just getting started. But coming videos will be on a specific topic, and it will be in depth, and that will be really interesting. So if you are first time on my channel and you want to know uh, what new videos I'm making on and I'm publishing on, and you want to get notified, then please do subscribe my channel and share with your friends who really interested to know and understand and learn more about the clouds. So having said that, let's start. So as you see on my screen, I have a small architecture of AWS infrastructure where I have a VPC with six subnet, two public subnet, two private subnet, two data subnet, and I have this infrastructure uh, for creating of this infrastructure. I have a separate videos I created last week, and if you want to know how we can automate this whole complete infrastructure along with the internet gateway and NAT gateway with cloud formation, so I have another videos. I'm putting a link of that videos and description, you can go and watch. So I'm going to use same infra for this video and where I'm creating this EC2 instance. So if you see here, we have a EC2 instance in public subnet. So I'm going to create a cloud formation template to create this EC2 instance, and we will be going to create in one of the public subnet. So when EC2 instance will be in public subnet, so by default it will come with public IP address, and I'm going to also install HTTPD to just see it's up and running and be able to access it. So let's go back to the cloud formation template which I'm going to use, and that we understand uh, line by line how to write a cloud formation or automation to create EC2 instance with cloud formation template. So this is the template I'm going to use. It's very small template, only 92 lines are here. So it's very simple, but let's understand. So it's going to make uh, it's going to set platform for all new upcoming videos. So as you see here, we have AWS template format version, and this is not mandatory, but just for sake of a good format I have here. We have a description, and description is just a small text about what we are going to do with this cloud formation template. So as you can see, it is a basic template that's going to define Amazon EC2 instance with security group, which allow SSH traffic on port 22 and HTTP traffic on port 80 on Amazon Linux AMI. So a small description what we are going to do, so that could be written, if you are creating a complex cloud formation template, then you can write here what to do and don't and whatever you want. So it's really a best place to describe what you're going to achieve from your template. So if you have any colleague, peers, any new person looking at your code, so he will understand what are the purpose of this template and what is going to create it. After description we have parameter, and parameters we are going to pass different values, and this we will be using when we will create AWS resource. So as I said, we are going to create EC2 instance. So while creating EC2 instance, we are going to use these parameters: VPC ID, subnet ID, key name, instance type, SSH location, and latest AMI ID. So parameters is basically used for when we are making our cloud formation template dynamic. So this template could be used any AWS account on in any AWS VPC. So you see, if your AWS account have 5 VPC and you want to create a EC2 instance in VPC 1, and you want to create again another EC2 instance in VPC 5, then we can use this template, because here we have parameterized and made it a dynamic as passing a parameter. So the parameter, the VPC ID which we pass there, is going to create our EC2 instance. Same of we have subnet ID. So we also passing subnet ID where we want to create this EC2 instance. And the same we have the key name, this is SSH key to access our EC2 instance. Then instance type, so which instance type you want to use. So here default I'm going to use T2 micro, and T2 micro is comes with AWS free tier, so it's not going to cost me, it's not going to charge me, so that's why I'm using T2 micro. And here is the allowed values, so it could be n number of values what we want, could be T2 small and T2 large and so on. So as I don't want to mistakenly create any EC2 instance, so that's why I only allowed value is a T2 micro, because this is for this account is for a demo purpose. So that is purpose of having this key allowed value in instance type. Then SSH location, the place from where I'm going to do SSH to my EC2 instance, so that's described here. And then latest AMI, so I'm going to use Amazon Linux image 2, so I'm passing this is as a default value, and this will be the type. So after parameter we have a resource, and resource is the uh, only resource is the only mandatory fields in CloudFormation template. So if you don't want to parameterize your CloudFormation template, then we really do not need this parameter section over here. Even we do not need description and AWS template version. But when you are and we are creating a CloudFormation template, then we must have resource type and at least one resource type. So this is mandatory field in CloudFormation template. So here we are going to create two resource, one EC2 instance and another is security group. So this name could be anything. Here see EC2 instance, but what we are going to create, that is understand from type. So when we create a resource, so in a resource the type going to determine which resource we are going to create. So here look at the type, here we are going to create AWS EC2 instance. If you look at here for security group, so your type is AWS EC2 security group. So we are going to create AWS EC2 security group here, and this name instance security group and EC2 instance, it could be any name. So it could be any name like EC2 instance. You can make 3, or you can make instance demo or something. So that is any dynamic name, but type going to determine what we are going to create. So after type we have properties, and properties we pass different keys and value. Then how do we understand what will be property of EC2 instance? To understand this, we can copy this AWS EC2 instance and we go to browser and let's search here. So let me open this link, and we landed to AWS documentation of AWS EC2 instance, and here we get each and everything about AWS EC2 instances when we are creating with the cloud formation. So this is very important a place to understand what could be create, what could be used when we are creating EC2 instance. So here my cloud formation template, this is in YML format. So there's two options. Either we can create cloud formation template in a JSON format or YML format. So I'm using YML format. So let's skip this JSON syntax, come to the YML format. So here we see we have type EC2 instance, and in properties there is these all are property that can be used while creating EC2 instance. And here we really not need to use all. There's few are mandatories and few are optional, and some comes with the default. If you don't specify any keys and values, then that property will be default one. So if you look at here, in my case, in property, I'm using couple of values like instance type, security group ID, key name, image ID, subnet ID, and user data. Okay, and apart from this, I'm not going to I'm not have any keys and values. So remaining will be default one, and which one is mandatory, so that will be default one. If something is not mandatory, so it won't be included here. So if we copy here and come and search here, then we have instance type here, and if we click on this link, then we can see what we can use as instance type, and here very is well written and described. So instance type, so instance type is the basically instance type. For more information, we can go to this link, and here we can see all this whole documentation to read about it, but let's not go into that details. Okay, so here default, if I don't provide instance type, so it's going to use m1 small for me, and this is required, no. So this is not mandatory field, so we really do not need it. But if we are using it, then type should be string. So here this is we are passing value as a string. And what will be the allowed value? So these are the allowed values. So all available EC2 instance type. Okay, and update required if we are going to update instance type. So this means update required with some interruption. So let's say I'm using a EC2 instance type T2 micro, and after creation of this EC2 instance, I'm going to change this to T2 small. So what will happen? T2 small. What is going to happen? So that's what is describing update. So when I'm going to update, so there will be some interruption. So it's very important to understand and read this text. So let's go back. So here each and every fields, if you come back here, each and every field is having some values, and if you want to really understand, then we can click on any on these links and go ahead and we can edit it. Coming back to a cloud formation template, so we have instance type, we have security group, and here security group I'm referring to security group, instance security group, and this is another AWS resource that I'm creating inside the AWS resource here. So I'm referring this security group here, and we see key name, and the key name we are referring back from our parameters. So you see here we are getting this as a parameter, and same goes for the image ID. I have hard coded image ID here, so it's going to use image ID from here. And subnet ID again is getting subnet ID from CloudFormation from parameters. Now user data. So user data is very important, and we'll talk. I will talk very detail on this part in the maybe in some other videos. So user data basically we use. Let me go to the documentation. So we'll see some more about user data. Let me search user data here. So user data make available to the instance. For information you can go here. So let me tell what happens. So in user data we can pass some script that we want to be executed while EC2 instance comes up. So when EC2 instance will be created and we want to do some installation, some software installation, then we can use user data script. So here you see in user data I'm passing couple of scripts. So let's forget this for now. I will talk later. Here what I'm doing, I'm installing httpd2 for testing. So this is my command, and to install httpd2 I need to update this, I need to get this repository, and then again this one, then I'm doing enabling this repository where I'm mentioning httpd php common, and then I'm so actually it's going to install httpd php and php common, and then I'm going to start httpd, and also I'm enabling it. So if my EC2 instance will get stopped and started, then again it will enable and httpd will be always running for me. So these are the script it will execute when it will boot EC2 instance. Here I have this 3 extra line, and what I'm doing here I'm creating logs of user data. So whatever script going to execute and I want to see as a log what is going to do, what's happening inside my EC2 instance. If something goes wrong here, maybe it's not installed, maybe it's not enabled, it's not started, so this is the place I will come and see the logs. So it's very important people, if they don't know, they don't have idea, they don't enable these logs, and who don't enable these logs it's become very challenging when you have bunch of script that running inside user data and something goes wrong, then how do we debug it, how do we know it? So this is very important to enable. So to enable on Amazon Linux image, we have this code to use where I'm specifying the place and the file. So in the var log and this is user data.log, and all console will come over here, and after that I'm putting sleep for 10 seconds. So just to make sure instance is up and running, instance is ready. So what happens, so when EC2 instance will create, so we sometimes we attach role. So just we trying to make sure attach role is created, is attached. So we need to give some sleep, so that's the purpose. I'm giving some sleep to make sure everything is settled down, then it will start installing these scripts. And that's all for creating EC2 instance. Let's look at the security group. In security group, similar as I said, type is AWS EC2 security group. So I'm going to create security group, and in properties I'm passing VPC. So where, in which VPC it will create. So in this VPC is going to create my security group. Then I have a small description. It's going to enable SSH via port 22 and HTTP access. And then in ingress I am passing two roles. One, a TCP port 2222 from SSH location, and that is nothing but 0.0.0/0 means from anywhere. And in second rules I'm passing TCP, I'm opening port 80 from anywhere. And last part is output section. In output section we basically try to try to get whatever resource we have created. So when we are automating our infra creation, AWS resource creation, so after once it will create, and we want to see what resource has been created and what which have what values, some information, we want to retrieve some information. For that purpose we use outputs. So here we see I'm trying to get instance ID. So to get instance ID I'm referring back to the EC2 instance ID from here, so it will give me the instance ID. And also I'm trying to get ability zone where it's going to create, also public DNS and public IP address. So all this information of EC2 instance will be available in output section. So this is very simple and a small cloud formation template. So just set the platform for the next video. So let's go and execute it and see how it's going to create instance for us. So to use this cloud formation template, I'm using AWS CLI, AWS Cloud Formation CLI, to execute this cloud formation template and create this stack. So here I have this command. So let me copy it and let's go back to the terminal. So let's understand this command. So what I'm doing here, I'm using AWS command, and before that I have my AWS command line is configured and set up. That's why I'm able to use AWS CLI from my command line. So I'm using AWS and the cloud formation CLI, cloud formation API. So I'm here using create a stack command, and I'm passing a stack name. So my stack name is basic web servers, and here I'm passing my template. So to pass template we need to use a template body, and here is the file basic Amazon EC2 instance YML. So this is the our template. If you go back to our cloud formation template. So we see, so this is basic Amazon EC2 instance.yml. So I'm using this template to create the stack. So again, as a parameters, so we see we were passing all these parameters, so we need to pass value of it. So I'm passing here instance type is T2 micro, key name CA, and again subnet ID 1, again VPC ID. And here if you see, when we are using default value, then we can speak, then we can uh, skip. So here you see I'm doing SSH location, latest MIID, and here default value is mentioned. So I really do not need to pass here, this is as a parameter. But if you don't have default value, then we must have to pass it. So here see, I can also skip SSH location, I could also skip instance type, but I must have to pass these three values because it don't have default value. But anyways, I'm passing it here. And something we know, if that is going to be always fixed, then we should use default. And if you know something going to be changed, then that we need to pass as a parameter. So if look at this MIID, so MIIDs, it will be same almost. If you're using a different account, if you're using different VPC, so it will be same. So we can hard code it here, but remaining could be a dynamic. Okay, and we have a tag, a very simple, I'm using for the example name, and the value is web server. So let's execute this. So here it's failed. What is saying, calling create a stack parameter instance type failed to satisfy the constraint, must be valid EC2 instance type. Okay, so I'm using T2 micro, it's fine from here, but we come here, see here, what we have done while demonstrating, I have changed that. So it's saying it's not valid EC2 instance type. Valid EC2 instance type is only T2 micro. So we cannot use T2 small. So let me change it to T2 micro. Okay, clear it. Let's rerun. Yes, so it's created a stack, and this is the stack ID. We can copy from here. If we have many stacks on uh, our AWS CloudFormation dashboard, then we could use copy and come and filter our stacks. Okay, maybe it's not expecting ARN. Sorry, I am on the wrong place. But why? Okay, sorry, so actually by name, so filter by name, so I could not use here this complete ARN, so that didn't make sense here. So here is the basic web server stacks, so we can see here, so it's created a basic web server stacks. We come here and see it's completed, so it took very few minutes to create it. And here we see all information related to our stack, and this is the stack ID what we have seen on this command line. And here is the description what we have kept in CloudFormation template, and status we see is created, and all some metadata and some information is here. If we come to the events and we see here what happened, so here we supposed to create we were creating two AWS resource, right? So here we see it's initiated by user, and it's creating instance security group. So this is the logical ID what we have given in our cloud formation template. So we can see here. So instance security group is started creating, and another is creating EC2 instance, and this is our logical ID. So this could be anything, it could be any name. And we see it's created a EC2 instance, is created a security group, and this stack creation completed basic web server. Okay, and if we come to the output section, in output section we see these are the edged and instance ID, public DNS, and public IP address. Okay, when we go to EC2 instance dashboard, and we supposed to see one EC2 instance here. So we can see EC2 instance, and it's up and running. So this was for the testing purpose I was creating. So we can filter it by instance state and only running. So we can see web server is running, it's up and running, it's up and running for us. Okay, so just want to see what is installed here, we can copy this public IP address, we can put it here, and it's up and running. So that's all. So we can see, so it's executed and it's installed all this script, and you can see this httpd from here. And that was all the purpose of this videos. And thanks a lot for watching, and if you really like this video, then please do like it and subscribe it. And if you have any questions, any comment, please comment. And if you have any other questions, then please ask in the comment section. Thank you so much. Bye bye.